You just dropped a couple $100 at the quick lube place, or maybe you knocked it out yourself on a Saturday morning in the driveway, feeling pretty good about yourself. Fresh oil, clean filter, job done. Then, 3 weeks later, there's a knock under the hood, a puddle on the garage floor, or a check engine light that won't quit. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never hear. A huge share of engine trouble doesn't start from hard driving or high mileage. It starts in the few minutes right after an oil change, from one small step done wrong or skipped entirely. No alarm, no smoke at first, just quiet damage, piling up with every mile. So before your next oil change turns into a 4-figure repair, stick with me. We're counting down 10 things you should never do after an oil change, ranked from bad to absolutely engine-ending. Plus, a bonus mistake at the end that even guys who've been turning wrenches for 30 years still get wrong. Let's start at number 10, with the leak nobody sees coming: reusing the old drain plug washer. Every drain bolt seals against the oil pan with a thin crush washer, usually copper or aluminum. The whole point is that it crushes once, molding itself to fill any tiny gaps. The first time, it works perfectly. The second time, that washer is already flattened and hardened, so it can't seal the way it did before. People reuse it because it looks fine, and a new one costs about 50 cents. Then they spend the next month chasing a slow weep around the drain bolt, wondering why their brand new oil change is leaving spots on the concrete. The fix costs less than a candy bar. Drop a fresh crush washer on every single time, and if your bolt doesn't use one, replace the bolt's built-in seal when it starts looking tired. Half a dollar now beats a stripped pan later. And that brings us right into the next one, because the pan is where a lot of this gets expensive. Number 9, the cold drain. It sounds harmless, even smart. Drain it before you start the engine so you don't burn your hand. The problem is, cold oil is thick, sludgy, and slow. It clings to the inside of the engine instead of flowing out the drain hole, which means a big chunk of that dirty, contaminated oil never actually leaves. You refill with fresh oil, and it immediately mixes with the old gunk you failed to drain. So what exactly did you change? The right move is simple. Start the engine and let it run for about 5 minutes first, just enough to warm everything up. You don't need to drive it. Warm oil pours out like water and carries the dirt with it, giving you a true flush instead of a half-hearted rinse. Watch the stream next time. Warm oil runs clean and steady. Cold oil dribbles out dark and slow, and most of the bad stuff stays inside. If you think skipping that 5 minutes saved you time, the next mistake shows how fast that logic falls apart. Number 8, the dry filter start, and this one's brutal because it hides in plain sight. When you spin on a brand new oil filter, it's bone dry inside. The second you crank the engine, the oil pump is screaming for pressure, but it has to fill that empty filter first. For those first few seconds, your bearings and cam are grinding against each other with almost no lubrication. Mechanics call it a dry start, and one of them won't kill your engine. But do it a few dozen times over the life of the car, and you're quietly shaving years off it. The fix takes 30 seconds. Before you install the filter, pour clean oil into it, not all the way, just enough to soak the media. On filters that mount upright, you can fill them most of the way. On sideways ones, do what you can and accept it'll be partial. Either way, pressure builds the instant you turn the key, instead of 10 seconds later. Some people skip it because it's messy. A little oil on your hands is a lot cheaper than a spun bearing. Number 7, the dry O-ring. This is the reason so many otherwise perfect oil changes end with a puddle. That rubber gasket on the lip of your filter is the only thing standing between your engine oil and your driveway. Rubber hates dry friction. Install that seal dry, and it can grab, twist, or pinch as you tighten the filter down. Sometimes it tears just enough that it holds fine cold, then starts dripping the moment the engine heats up and pressure rises. People blame the filter, blame the car, blame everything except the actual culprit, which is an unlubricated seal. The fix is almost insultingly simple. Dip a fingertip in clean oil and run it around the rubber ring before you spin it on. That thin film lets the seal seat perfectly and keeps it from bonding to the engine block like glue, which makes your next change a whole lot easier too. Watch any good tech and you'll see the same little ritual every time. Pause, swipe the seal, twist it on smooth. Number 6, the double gasket disaster. And this is the one that catches even experienced people. Here's how it sneaks up on you. You unscrew the old filter and its rubber gasket peels off and stays stuck to the engine block, while the filter comes away clean. You don't notice. You spin the new filter on right over the top of it, and now you've got two seals stacked against each other. They don't seal at all. It starts as a few drops, then a steady drip, then the engine loses oil pressure and runs dry, and you're looking at catastrophic failure from a part that costs $10. The cure is 1 finger and 3 seconds. After the old filter comes off, run your finger all the way around the mounting surface and make sure the old gasket came off with it. If you feel rubber stuck there, peel it. Always. That tiny habit has saved more engines than any additive ever sold. Number 5, the wrong oil entirely. You'd think oil is oil, but that assumption has cooked more engines than lead-footed driving ever could. Your engine was designed around a specific grade, something like 5W30 or 0W20, and those numbers aren't suggestions. Go too thick and the oil won't flow fast enough on a cold start, leaving parts exposed when they're most vulnerable. Go too thin and it breaks down under heat and metal starts meeting metal. Modern engines make this even riskier because a lot of them are built for full synthetic, with specific additives matched to tight tolerances and turbo systems. Pour in the wrong stuff and you're not just losing performance, you can void your warranty outright. The fix lives in your glove box. The owner's manual tells you exactly what grade and what type, whether it's full synthetic, a blend, or conventional. And one more warning for the American driver shopping online. Counterfeit oil is a real thing. Buy from a store you trust. If a name brand synthetic is half price on some random marketplace listing, that's not a deal, that's a future repair bill. Number 4, the overfill. Because a surprising number of folks figure more oil means more protection. It's the opposite. Pour in too much and the spinning crankshaft whips that extra oil into foam, like an egg beater in a bowl. Foamy oil doesn't lubricate, so your bearings start running dry even while the dipstick reads full. Pressure climbs, seals get pushed past their limit, and gaskets start leaking. The right approach is patience. Add oil a little at a time, checking the dipstick between pours, and keep it between the marks, never over the top one. Quick tip that trips people up. Park on level ground before you check or your reading is a lie. Too little oil kills an engine. Too much kills it faster and from the inside out where you can't see it coming. Number 3, going full Hulk on the drain plug. This one hurts to even talk about because cranking that bolt down with everything you've got feels responsible. It's the fastest way to wreck an oil pan I know of. The plug doesn't seal because it's tight. It seals because of the gasket or crush washer we talked about earlier. When you torque it like you're trying to break a lug nut, you stretch the threads, crack aluminum pans, and sometimes snap the bolt clean off inside the pan, which turns a 15-minute job into a tow and a new pan. Most drain plugs want somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 foot-pounds. A torque wrench takes the guesswork out completely. No torque wrench? Remember this phrase, snug, not strained. Tighten until it seats, then a small nudge more, and stop. And if you've been over-cranking yours for years, keep an eye out because damaged threads can hold for a while and then let go all at once on the highway. Number 2, the forgotten final check, and skipping it undoes everything you just did. After you've drained, refilled, and tightened, you're not actually finished. Start the engine, let it run about a minute, shut it off, wait a couple minutes for the oil to settle, and check the level again. Here's why it matters. When you first pour the oil in, the level looks correct. But once the engine runs, that new filter soaks up some of it, and suddenly the dipstick reads low. Skip the recheck, and you could be driving around underfilled without a clue. This is also your best chance to catch a leak, because a fresh oil change is exactly when a missed drain bolt or a sneaky double gasket announces itself. 2 extra minutes saves you the engine, the wallet, and the embarrassment of explaining to your buddies why the tow truck is in your driveway again. And the #1 mistake people make after an oil change: ignoring the oil life monitor, and worse, never resetting it. Modern cars are smarter than most drivers give them credit for. That system dispatch engine temperature, how hard you drive, how long your trips are, all of it. When the light comes on, it isn't guessing, it's telling you the oil's done. Most people treat it like a polite suggestion, which is a little like ignoring the smoke detector because you don't see flames yet. Keep driving on tired oil and you're slowly baking your engine in sludge. And here's the part that bites you twice. A lot of newer vehicles log skip changes right in the computer. So when you go to sell, the dealer plugs in a scanner and sees every missed interval, and your resale value takes the hit. The flip side is just as important. After you change the oil, reset the monitor properly so it's actually counting from 0 again. Don't override it, don't snooze it. When the light says it's time, and your dashboard isn't nagging you, it's trying to save your engine. And here's the bonus we promised, because this one even seasoned drivers blow past: driving off the second the new oil's in. When you start the engine, that fresh oil needs a few seconds to circulate, fill the filter, and build pressure through every passage. Throw it straight into gear and stomp the gas, and those critical first moments happen with parts still running dry. The fix is the easiest one on this whole list. After the change, start it up and just let it idle 30 to 60 seconds before you move. No revving, no shifting, just let the pressure stabilize. It's a tiny pause that pays you back in years of quiet, reliable running. So there you have it, 10 ways a routine oil change can quietly turn into the most expensive 20 minutes of your year, plus the bonus mistake almost everybody makes. Notice the pattern. None of these come down to luck or bad parts. They come down to small, skippable steps that the rushed and the overconfident leave out, and the engine is the one that pays. Slow down, swipe the seals, check the level twice, and respect the torque. That's the difference between an engine that gives up at 100,000 miles and one that's still going strong at 300. Which of these have you caught someone doing or owned up to doing yourself? Drop it in the comments because your story might just save somebody's engine. And if this saved you a headache, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell because we break down real car care truth every single week. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.